it's obvious that they're ignoring us. So I suggest that we send a strongly worded letter to them demanding that they meet with members of this council.
I thought we did at one of the meetings have a letter from them to say that they would meet with us.
Yeah, we did, and they've not.
And then it's nothing's
The reply was where, when.
Yeah.
And we've never had a reply to that. So, you know, I think that to be fair, they've had free use of ground from 1990s or like that. Probably well, a lot earlier than that, but that's where the latest agreement comes in.
So how much did they contribute to that at all?
Nothing. They've actually had grants to pay. They've actually had grants to pay for it then, from council. We've actually paid their rent for them. So, I don't know what you want to, you know, has anybody got any?
I'm just a little bit perplexed. I mean, how long is that then that they've been there? I mean,
73, I think it is.
and there's been no rent paid, no rent reviewed.
No. And it actually says that they should have rent reviews every 5 years. But there haven't been any, and they're not paying them.
So somebody start paying to find out how much the original rent was, and then adding on
Well,
a 5%
it's added,
rise.
the word, Rotherham Borough Council were asked to do a survey on it, and they did that. And he actually says that it should be something like £5,000 a year.
2012.
I think 2012, and it should be £5,000 a year rent. So, but all I'm saying is that I'm asking whether you think that we should actually write to them and say, you know, basically demanding a meeting.
Could you backdate it to 1970?
Only for
No, I think if they had land in 1973 for free rent for the first 5 years, it should be 1978, Gene.
Well, we can't backdate it anyway. But what we're saying is that there haven't been any reviews, and that there needs to be. And they need to come and meet us.
I'll second the letter.
All in favour? Okay.
Sorry, need it. Chair, can I be excused for?
Yeah. Whatever. I thought, were you throwing a lift then, or? To discuss regulating staff monthly days, paid. But life of me, I can't see why we need to be discussing this, because it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. I don't see how we can expect people not to have a regular pay day. And it would appear from this that we haven't been doing that.
Some weeks staff can go 6 weeks without pay. If the months fall, so
it is monthly pay then, it's not every 4 weeks, that does change. It is
no,
monthly.
it's a monthly.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, it's 12 payments.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, well, when it's 12 monthly payments, most big companies don't ever like to go past the 28th of the month, do they? So that if you have like February 29th, so every 28th of the month you get paid. That can sometimes be 4.5 weeks.
I think local authority, well I know the local property obviously, pay on the 18th because they work on a 2 weeks in advance, 2 weeks in arrears basis when you actually pay the sign, it's easy to work it out.
But you're going to be paying anyway, so
Yeah.
it's a regular, I mean, can I have a proposal in a second?
Just ask a question.
Oh, go on, carry on.
I'm just going to ask a question. The assistant Carol will probably answer it better. Have you actually thought, Carol, what would be the best date for you to be paid? Have you already
Well, I think the clerk's put the 10th on here, hasn't he? I don't know whether he's spoken to other team members. He hasn't spoken to me, but as long as it's regularised.
It's put the 10th latest, it's put
It's put what, sorry?
10th of the month latest.
10th of the month, yeah.
thereabouts?
Yeah.
She's the first one here, isn't it?
Anybody else? No? Can I have a proposer and a seconder for that, please? What seconder? All in favour? Now this one I don't understand, so hopefully somebody may be able to clarify this for me, because I don't get it.
You'll be lucky.
Is to discuss an offer to transfer land at the rear of Scarsdale Street.
No.
No.
Sorry, have I missed one?
1815C.
Oh, sorry.
Says here Councillor Milner verbal.
And I'm saying I don't get it.
Oh, we've got your own way. You've done that on purpose.
When you get to my age, you have to give a little bit of leeway, you know.
Is this what I look forward to? I did have some notes, but I can't find them.
Sorry about that.
Judge in a row.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, this was brought up at the annual town council meeting. I think we decided that we want to start it again. Apparently there was one before when previous council had started a youth council before.
We tried to.
Yeah. So I think we want to try and get it so we can get them involved, because at the moment there's nothing for them, is there?
Sorry, okay.
No, yeah, fine.
I spoke with Rotherham Youth Service yesterday at the Rotherham show, and I forget the lady's name, but she's one of the outreach workers, and I believe she's meeting with Andrea Pearson and the guys at the area assembly to start talking about how we piece one together. They've just done one for Rotherham, and she's got experience in other areas.
Yeah, I've got a meeting with them.
I know you've been doing something.
Yeah, I've got a meeting. It's during the day, so obviously I know where you're working that you won't be able to get to it, but so I'm meeting. Well, you know, forgive me if I've got that wrong, but so I'm meeting with them, so I'll bring that information back to council on it, because they have been set. They've set one up at Maltby, I think.
Yeah, Maltby. I've been wanting to tap their chairman one.
We have several young people that live in Dinnington and are part of the Rotherham Youth Council.
Right.
So again, there's a starting block there that hopefully we can try and recruit them to assist us to do it. If that's fair enough with everybody.
I think it's important because well,
Yeah, there's
with all this trouble,
Yeah.
you know, trouble that we've been having, that if we can involve young people into what goes into council and what work has to be done and what responsibilities we've got, and we give them some responsibility, I think that helps us
that's the thing.
to improve the
responsibility. And we've got to involve them from
Yeah.
Would that be using the lyrics, say, for any
it's possible.
areas
It's possible.
Yeah, it's going to meeting the area assembly on members of the area assembly.
So in answer, yes, it's slowly moving, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that all right for you?
That's
Does
marvellous.
that answer your
Yes,
question?
if you could keep me
I do
updated on that.
apologise
If you
for
could,
ignoring you.
if you could keep me updated on that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I hope you'll to get
Is there
involved with it.
a local democracy coming up as well?
Yeah, that's what it's from. It's local.
No,
What local democracy is looking for is to actually have this place to have it to put on whatever it is.
Well, if you are going to do something, let me know and I'll put some holidays in and I'll make sure I'm
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, I really want to get involved in it. So, yeah, it's just what we will be doing is more or less information gathering at the moment, isn't it?
One of the ideas was to use that place they run about in Rotherham, is it Rotherham?
Yeah.
Where we can take a group of young people, give them a scenario, and that during the course of the day they've got to deal with it. And it's a lot of role play and stuff involved, but it also gives them an idea what it is to make a decision and see what it's through.
So that's moving on.
Yeah.
Park Avenue Cemetery Lyric Theatre allotments. place this time round. Lyric theatre curtains. Which,
So it's not a subject, so it's not a problem.
well, I can still play if you want.
Yeah, go on, then, you do it.
We obviously need new curtains. The decision we made not to have them cleaned, based on the fact that how much money it would cost to have them cleaned, and just what risk there would be to curtains having them cleaned, because we didn't know whether or not we'd get them back in one piece. So decision we made to put the old ones back up, and that we'd look into this. And I think Councillor Smith can come in on this because she's been looking at funding for it. So.
Yeah, there's a local grant that I've inquired about. It's £3,000, and we can send an application in with no guarantees because Dinnington's not actually on the list. What it is, it's the wind farm. Dinnington's not on the list of parishes that are included for reasons that amaze me. But well, it sounds as though nobody applied to go on the list when communities were first asked. So I've asked if we can apply towards curtains, and they've said so long as it benefits the communities that are on the list, which obviously a venue like this, people from surrounding areas do come to it. So he said more than likely we would be eligible. So we've got the forms to fill in, and Carol's going to help me with that because there's some information that they have that I don't have access to. But I have also asked if there's a right of appeal for Dinnington to go on the list, and I've emailed that information to them and asked the question, and the meeting for that will be in November. Because obviously, if this thing was on for 25 years, these grants, and obviously we could think of something else we want money for and be excluded because it won't benefit, say, Thurcroft or Whiston or somewhere like that. So I've asked if there's a right of appeal, so we'll see how that goes. But if we can get £3,000 towards some curtains, then
Speak out.
yeah.
Anything you want to add to it?
No, that's where we are, that's
You did get a quote, didn't you? And you were going to ask how much it was just for the curtains, did that?
No, I haven't had a chance to.
No, so that's still on.
You just wanted a quote.
Just for the curtains, because I think it was for the, was it to put them up and everything?
Oh yeah, I've got that quote separated, so it's all itemised, so
right,
you can mix, so you can just have the curtains on
Yeah.
rails as well. I've got that, yeah.
Has anybody got any questions on that?
I just think it's grants are one of the ways to find extra money, but it seems to be a minefield of finding them.
Yeah.
Seems to be able to find some.
Well, I've got a list of grants. They're not all necessarily ones that we can apply for, but it's working through them. That's the thing.
Because we missed a deadline on that.
Yeah, we missed the deadline on what would have been a beauty, but missed it by a week. So can I just say to everybody that if you get anything at all that mentions a grant, at least point it out to Carol or Al, in case we miss it, because everything else that's been going on with the lyric and everything, I've only just started going through the ones that I've found sites for, and I've realised that we've missed a
But there
really
are
good
close dates
opportunity.
to all grants, aren't there? There's like cut-off points, so it's sometimes you, like Pat did, you just miss that one.
Yeah, by a week.
Yeah.
Are you going to South Yorkshire? South Yorkshire SYF funding agency, whatever, bureau, whatever.
Yes.
Because you can get, emails they're sending you about twice a week. They are some for training and some are telling you, type of funding you can go for.
Don't they? Do you have to pay to join that?
I'm sorry, Pat, I can't
I
hear.
said, do you have to pay to join it? I know what you mean, but I haven't had a proper look at it.
I don't think
You
so.
don't
I
have to
think I
pay
used
for
to
that.
get their emails, so I don't think
Yeah,
it's
okay.
You don't have to pay for that.
getting actually completing the applications?
Well,
Because I think there must
it's
be a
a,
night
it's a really thorough organisation, and they give you training on how to go for it and different types. But if you like, I can next time I get one through, I'll forward it to you.
Yeah, please do, yeah.
And then you could more or less ask to have the email sent to you.
Can you copy Councillor Smith into it
Yeah.
as well? So, is that all right? Any more questions on that? Are we okay on that? No, I just tried to say before when I got it wrong place. This I don't understand. To discuss an offer to transfer land at the rear of Scarsdale. It's a bit of a misnomer. I'll come to you in a minute now. But it's a bit of a misnomer calling it land because it's actually the street that's at back of Scarsdale that's gated. So, go on, do you want to ask?
I was just going to come in there, Chair. I've been and had a look at this land as I was walking past, and it's really of value. It will add value to the other bit of land that we've got down there on the allotments, old allotment side.
Which bit is it actually then?
It's the actual, roadway at back.
It's the actual fire escape at the back of the houses. It's a private access,
See, what I don't understand with that is, when you own a property, you own half the street in front of you and half the street behind you. So what is it? What exactly is he trying to sell us? Because surely the houses actually own half of that, and I would have assumed then that the allotments owns the other half, the same as down the back street on the Victoria Street
Well,
allotment.
we've been and looked at it, Councillor Royce himself, and the thing is, the problem for us, I think, is that the houses themselves have to have access to that street, to that piece. So it won't gain us, we won't gain access to a piece of land. So if we decided we wanted to sell that piece of land, actually having that roadway won't gain us anything. It won't improve sale of land.
What's been fly tipped on there then? Because it mentions about this side. Is the fly tipping on there at the moment?
Yes.
Because it's gated, the gate's been open.
Yeah.
The gate locks are broken again.
Oh,
All the gate locks are broken again. There is, from what I've seen, I've got photos of it on my phone as well. There's a fire bin at the top end of it, what they burn rubbish in. Seems to be like a community fire bin. It's all overgrown and stuff, but there's two channels that shoot off onto Scarsdale Street itself, isn't there?
Yeah.
Two alleyways that shoot off to Scarsdale Street itself.
I mean,
They're
look,
gated, but all the locks are bust.
Yeah. So I mean, what we'd actually be doing is, if we accepted this, what we'd actually be doing is, we'd be accepting responsibility for maintenance at gates, and then locks cost a fortune.
And paying for it.
Cleaning it up.
I think all the world is just trying to offload it. Because if there's any houses being built, they'll build their own accesses.
Well, access would come off a bit
no
Victoria
lines in the
Street.
bottom,
Yeah.
they'll have their own access. So that wouldn't be any value to us at all. All we'll be landed in is keeping it maintained,
Yeah.
keeping all that up, because they want to get rid of that fly tipping on us.
Yeah.
Costs a lot of money to get
They're
rid
selling
of
it
it.
as for £1 and it's going to be nearly £1,000 in charges to
Searches and all that.
yeah. But in any case, I wouldn't agree with it unless I'd actually got a plan of what it is that you're trying to sell us.
Well,
But, you know, because you don't know
all you
that.
need to know is it's the alleyway at back, the houses.
But half of
Goes
half
from,
of that
Beyond-
alleyway
it goes from Victoria Street
Beyond houses, do you?
to the back end,
You'd like to see it all.
to where it was to go for it.
There's loads of
Yeah, it's
them.
same thing. Yeah.
They made a mistake or something when they sold
Yeah,
the houses, didn't they?
yeah.
So I think Robin Borough should keep it.
No,
It's actually a private company that owns it. Can we just have one meeting, please? Yeah, it's actually a private company that owns it.
But what to learn tell sorry.
Go on. Carry on.
Apart from anything else, with no actual boundaries or diagrams or anything, I mean, it's like buying a pig in a poke, isn't it? You would know what you're buying.
I think we'll be buying trouble, to be honest,
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
It's like going for a penny.
So anybody else got any feeling? Are you proposing, do you want to propose that we actually buy it? Or?
No, I was going to come on to it would add value to the bit of land that we own on there, but it's, like you say, if they're going to build their own access anyway, we're just going to be stuck with a bit of private road between two housing estates.
If that land were bought and it were built on, they'd keep that roadway. So what they do is they'd use that edge of that roadway as a boundary for any kind of building that would go off on there, and we'd still be stuck with it. They won't buy it off us.
No.
So we would be stuck with it.
Now you said, David, that it's privately owned. It's obviously that if Rutland Borough is clearing it all the time, they're
Yeah.
probably billing them.
Yeah,
So they
Yeah.
want us to pay that money out
yeah.
and then take over
Yeah.
their...
I mean, you wouldn't actually sell it to somebody for £1, would you, if you knew you, know. So what's feelings
I
on it?
propose we
I think we
decline.
should reject it.
Yeah.
So we've got a proposal that we decline, you second it, Paul.
Yeah.
All in favour of declining?
Sorry, that Les will propose that proposal, thank you.
Just put in a letter, we appreciate your
Kind of.
kind answer.
Stuff it somewhere.
Cheers for trying to lumber us with it, but
Sorry. Don't make me laugh again, update report from Lyric Management Committee. Does anybody else want to take this on, because Councillor Scott's not been able to attend to that? Would you?
Just going to say, really, there's not a lot to sort of update because it's ongoing at the moment. And we're looking at all areas of the Lyric and trying to bring everything up to date. And I believe we were going to report sort of next month once we've got a better idea, a better picture of where we are.
Yeah.
If that's okay, Chair.
Yeah. Any questions? I think the committee's doing a really good job on what it's done up to now, so considering a grant request from Dinnington Town over 35 Football Club. By the time we've had this, we've had it enough time for it to be over 70s Football Club, I think. But, so what feelings do we have on this?
Have they put any event details in yet? Yeah, they've no bank details in. Plus they'd also applied to Jeanette Mallinger for the same grant.
So can we reject that?
yeah.
Can I have a proposal in a second? Let's do it then. All in favour? It's been explained to them that many times that it's running file. I'm supposed to do a verbal update on this.
Standing orders.
Sorry? Oh, can I move that we suspend standing orders for 20 minutes? Seconded. All in favour? We're nearly there, guys, don't we? We don't have anything else. I'll read it back.
There's only 2 items, and I think it's all one of them, the one's about girls, one going. And the other is the defibrillators, I think they're all working now.
Yeah.
Councillor Clark, ours is, yours is. Regular weekly checks on them, document that we checked every week. Yeah,
Another thing is Burke
we've got a Birkdale one still, yeah, for your information.
Yeah. And that stays on.
That's the other one that can close the defibrillator. Yeah.
Is there any questions on Burkdale?
I thought that had been finalised, have we moved it further?
We're not getting any answers on it, that's basically it.
Is that not what Greenbelt
Yeah.
group we're talking about?
It's what we don't seem to be getting any.
Well, that's what they've asked
Full answers
Councillor
from-
Mallinger again, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
if I can just read from that day, Is this what I was suggesting? So on the 3rd of August, decision notice dated 28th of July 2015, received on return from leave. Final appeal rejected on grounds of probability that RMBC never held the requested information. Further appeal possible only on a point of law, therefore recommended this item be closed with no further action possible.
Because we can't do it.
That's it, you can put it there last time. Yeah.
So that's we can close that
So
one as well.
are we okay to close that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, are we, any problems if Mr Sadler speaks? Yeah, yes.
No.
I'd just say that on last round of consultation for the Greenbelt sites, the housing developer who wants to develop the 2 fields next to it put a plan on there, which is on the internet, anyone can look at it, and the Birkdale playing fields are shown there as built on and as part of the landscaping. And that housing developer has told me that they've been in talks with RMBC before, and they were going to build 90 affordable homes on it.
What website's that, please?
You know the consultation website that you go to for any RMBC consultation? If you go and look at the last site and policies, and if you look under, I think it's LDF 219 off the top of my head, that's the code for that piece of land. And one of the submissions there is from Taylor Wimpey, or probably just their agents. And there's a colour picture shown of those 3 pieces of land put together, including the RMBC owned land, and it's built on.
I mean, just to be clear on what we've been doing as a council is that we've put freedom of information requests in and took it to its ultimate and we refused information. So
well, I've written to the Commissioner.
So we can't actually, as far as freedom of information is concerned, which is what this is about, we can't move that.
Well, I've written to the Commissioner and asked her to intervene, and she's told me to do one, basically.
Yeah.
And what happened though, what we got to know about, they accidentally sent, the appeal before, they accidentally sent us back information we'd never had.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't understand why they haven't accepted that has been withheld from us. I just can't understand why they won't accept that.
No. But it's gone to Commissioner and it's, you know, for FOI, that's as far as we can. I mean, as a council, we're against it being built on. So it's like, it's down, at the minute, it's down to Councillor Malinder, it's down to Sir Kevin Barron.
Well, I still don't understand how they can build on it, because the National Planning Framework says you can't take recreational land without replacing it. So, but they're adamant that they're definitely determined to get it.
Sorry, I'm really naive about this, but is that the question relevant to what the chap behind you was talking about earlier on in the meeting that Councillor Mallender was trying to find out about?
Yeah, that's right.
She's taking it on board now.
Yeah, and she'll get about as far as the rest of us have got.
FOI, so, you know, as I said, that's as far as we can go on it, because we've taken it as far as we can as a council. Other councillors' report we've already had. To arrange a meet your councillors day, I thought if we do this, we can actually incorporate it into Macmillan Day, and any councillor that can come should be there.
Good idea.
Get some big badges made.
Well, we suppose we have to put
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been dealt with for name badges, so we need to sort that out as well. But this, I just think if we, for the first time we're doing it, if we incorporate it into Macmillan, I think we should do that.
How was it likely to stay on?
It's, well, we're saying it's coffee morning, so it's like between 10 o'clock in the morning and 1. I know it's... Could you get
I know what it's like. I mean, I know what it's like as far as people
25th.
working. It's,
25th of this
but we
month.
can't have a coffee morning at
25th of this month, man.
Cost of a day. Cost of a day.
Cocktail,
next.
Stop making me cough, guys, come on.
And that's a thought.
So it's,
Offer an holiday for that day.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to party.
Every time. With the McMillan.
So you put an arrest date on it?
I am.
He's gonna put that on Facebook that he's doing that, I know.
Other one is, this is just for you to kick ideas around, because it's just about thinking about how we can actually clean up Dinnington and actually keep it clean. One of the hard things is getting Rotherham Borough to actually play ball with us about different things. I mean, we've blocked drains is one of the biggest problems that we have with them, because they're not right. You know, you've got to fight them to a standstill on that. But we seem to have there are areas in Dinnington where they need cleaning up. But it's what I just want you to do is just to think about it, and let's at next meeting we can put ideas in on what we should do.
I think one of the things we can do is write to whoever owns the market and remind them that it does need clearing up.
Yeah.
I had a couple of Fridays ago and there were cardboard boxes stood up into the floor and veg all over.
Yeah.
It's not the ideal thing when you get to step off a bus and you see all that.
Yeah.
We don't have clean-up days,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on them like, but it could do with more areas being included more often.
But we should battle with Rotherham Borough for facilities that they should be providing with us all the time. This is a battle, a constant battle.
It is, yeah.
Well, there's a grate outside the resource centre on Quality Davis has been reported for nearly 3 years and 4. It's never been done yet.
No.
Yeah,
They were supposed to do it when they did rest at High Street and didn't do
They
it.
never cleaned it out.
No.
Did
And we have
anybody
exactly
actually
the
see
same
them
problem
do
with
High Street?
No.
Sorry?
Did anybody actually see them come and do High Street?
Yeah, they did do it at High Street.
So, just another thought, going back to youth councils and other bits. I know a few years ago we ran Area Assembly ran a Bennett to Win It competition for young people. And again, it involved people having these tickets in their pockets, and if you see a young person throwing some rubbish, you just scribble it out, get them to sign it with their number, you put it in a bucket and pull it out at the end of the month. And they got a chance of winning an iPod or something like that. And it worked really well at the time.
I don't think they've got the funds now.
They haven't, but maybe it's an idea again to look at,
Yeah.
to visit, even when we get the youth council up and running.
Yeah.
Levy on the takeaways.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Clean High Street.
one thing about takeaways is the law says that they've got to keep their own area clean.
They don't.
And it's not being enforced.
It's enforcement, it's making them do what they're supposed to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
Did you get an email from me that I forwarded, and it was about a grant? I think it was only about £150. But that was to do with youth and cleaning the area.
Yeah, right.
So that's something we could perhaps apply for a grant that would perhaps fund something like that.
Yeah.
They just...
Sorry, no, Councillor Adams were before me.
I've contacted Street Pride on quite a number of occasions, and I'll be honest with you, never had a problem with it. Wherever I take a photograph of, send it on the website, usually within 3 days, whether it was street lights, fly tipping, abandoned bins. I think with the exception of probably one this year that took about 8 weeks, they've done and dusted for me in 2 or 3 weeks. And I don't just mean where I live.
No.
If I'm driving around Dinnington and I see something, I think
Yeah.
that looks nice, or took a photo, bang it off the street, right? I pay my rates, I want them to do something. And I don't really understand why we're struggling to get stuff done, but I think what you need to do is make people in Dinnington aware that they can do something as simple as that. It's literally an email. It's not us doing everything. People are Dinnington. They can actually do something. You know, for the sense like you know the street that you mentioned, like Scarsdale Flag TV. Take a photo. You say this is there. They come round and they clean it up for you. I mean, I know the more people that do that, they'll probably tell us we've got to pay more council tax in a few years' time, but we probably pay enough in the first place that warrants that they should be there. I've never had a problem with them. And
I was
I
going to
do
say the
it
wardens that
10, 15 times a year.
the wardens that I've met that do that job are pretty good at, you know, following up.
Yeah.
So
They give like a reference number as well.
Yeah.
We have the one you send, so if they don't do it, you can get back to them and say, this is not being done, and they have to act on it. So, you know, maybe it's that people in Dinnington aren't aware of that, and that might be the first thing. Say this cleaning up at the streets, you know, take a photo, there's rubbish, there's shot, you can clean it up after them send it. They'll make the shot and do it. It's just a thought.
Could put that on our website, on
Yeah.
Facebook or website, so if you've got something
This-
to report,
so-
use his web address or whatever.
Yeah.
Can I come in, Chair? This youth council as well, where a couple of years ago they did a clean up on Scarsdale Street. It was a school day, but the youth council, the area assembly, actually got permission from the school and the parents to fetch the youth council out for a couple of hours to help, and just so that there's a youth presence there, showing that they are wanting to clean up the streets of Dinnington. You know, which it did take off. It was a really good thing. More people were listening then. There were more people coming out and saying, well, hang on a minute, yeah, if kids are wanting to do something, then why not? We've got to.
Yeah.
I just ask Andy, you know, your issue about the markets on the back,
Yeah.
I've got a contact for David who runs those markets.
Yeah.
If you can give me the details of what your issue is or what they're doing, then I'll contact David.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I think the top and bottom of it though, is the people that want educating.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've seen council come out and take flags away. The very next day, there's more people there. I mean, it's a big thing that council should keep on top of. I know we don't like it, but it is a big thing for them. I mean, when you think about the whole area of them, trying to keep on top of flag tipping, it's very near impossible.
I think in a rural area like this, people come from other areas that are more built up and use this as a
But I think you're right. I think we should be complimentary street
It's
rather than
not just fly tipping, it's simple things like if a street light's not lit, it's black in that area, kids congregate around it, or people undesirables like to be in dark areas, so it doesn't take 2 minutes to send them an email to say fix that street light, and then it's lit up again, and obviously you feel a lot better because your street's lit up.
I've reported 2 street lights. One is on Scarsdale Street that has been chopped down. It's been down for 4 years, and I keep reporting that and nothing's happened. I went into the area assembly office to see Steve Lavin. He's going to start reporting it for me as well to see if something happens. And Leicester Road backs, as you go through the General onto Hine up there, there's a street light there that is overgrown with a tree. It lights up, it comes on, but it's no good. And there's just a report that's 2 months back that. They've not been out just to cut round it or anything.
last one. Yeah.
Just one thing that I've noticed, and you probably all have a lot recently, it seems to have become a massive habit to dump your scrap out on the street. For scrapman to turn up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it just looks disgusting. I mean, I came home one day and I got a microwave parked outside my gate, and it was next door neighbour and I thought, no, have it in front of your house. It's not my bloody microwave. Pardon my friend. But it seems to be getting a bigger and bigger problem. You suddenly go along the street and there's a fridge parked there. Well, scrapmen don't set fridges, so that's going to stay there forever, isn't it?
But I think as
Councillor
Councillor Adams says then that we should, you take a photograph of it, get onto Street Pride and report it.
Scrapmen will actually take fridges. There's this CO2 thing that we're going around a few years ago. That's not a problem for them. The only thing I'd say is most people I see when they leave out time from scrapmen, they've actually took a photo of it, stuck it on Facebook and said, any scrapmen want to take this? And I'll be perfectly honest with you, it's gone in 24 hours. It's easy money for them.
Yeah.
They'll come round and pick it up. So maybe the guy who chucked his microwave down didn't advertised the fact that there was some metal there, but the,
Okay,
But I mean, there's no
uh,
reason they can't
they
leave them on
wanted
the
to clean up.
garden and the guy knock on the door to get the scrap. They don't have to leave it on pavement.
The scrap men were down there regular.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I've heard them going round, I know they come round regularly, but what I'm saying is, surely they can leave the scrap on their garden
totally agree
rather
with that.
than on the pavement.
The fridges.
Can we leave it at that? Because I want to get on to, because we missed it last time, I want to get on to discussing status at Dinnington Miners Welfare. I don't know whether you want to come in on this, Jim.
Well, I don't, but do I have to clarify why I put myself up as possibly interested in it?
No, you don't.
No, it's all right.
No.
I don't know whether you know or not, but back in 1920s, and this is all I yesterday, so just bear with me a bit, there were 2,649 miners and associate workers put their hands in the pocket to pay for the welfare, the miners' welfare up there. And along with a generous gift from Kinnington Park Rural District Council, we finished up with, what? A sports hall, two bowling greens, tennis courts, football, cricket, and welfare for all the family. Now then, they were asked at the time, why do we need two? And because the reply came back, because the other one, which is on the resource centre, was too regimented. Sport, 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 no family. Sport, sport, sport. So that's why the miners did this, they bought it. Now then, in 1952, the Mine Welfare Act came into force. That's it. Where they said they formed the CISWEL, the Coal Industries Welfare Organisation. Now they were formed to operate welfares and institutes on all, and bear this in mind, this is the key word, on NCB owned land. Now, don't we have got two issues running now, owned land and bought land. Now the Colliery Institute down the Resource Centre was NCB land, or National Coal Board land. The land up there was right up to 1974, was paid by direct levy from miners at the pit, separate to that one. Now then, I read a piece then, not back in the last year, I don't know, or thereabout, where we went on a, shall we say, where we live. And I got to page 17 of it, and in it, it said that the development people should look at adding top of Leicester Road, top of Silverdales, with the Siswell land. Now this is what I find confusing. It's the Siswell land. A, how they come about with it, how has it come under their jurisdiction, and who dropped the proverbial. And the proverbial was dropped in 1995 when Siswell was ceased to be Siswell in such and had to become a charity because all levies were stopped from the pit. So they had to come for self-financing. And when Rotherham Borough, who meantime had been taken over as, shall we say, guardians of the land, mowing it and God knows what, they decided to pack it in. Right. Now when they packed it in, they should have gone back to the original 4 trustees of the land. But they chose not to, for whatever reason, they chose not to. And they went straight to Siswell, saying that the trustees could not be found. Now I know that's not true. Several people know it's not true. So they just didn't go to find them. So legally, who owns the land? It's certainly not Siswell. Because they come about it by false means. Now if I can just egg it up a bit. In 1984, I had all the documentation of that land up there. And when they handed it over to Rotherham Borough for their, shall we say, looking after, I'd got nowhere to put all that paperwork concerning that land. So I asked the, shall we say, the leader of NUN, who was a trustee down at the Colliery Club here, where could I use that West Bank vault to store them in? Yeah, not a problem, because in 1980 we didn't think there'd be a problem. Now then, it came to pass that when Rotherham Borough seized control of it in 2005, or thereabouts, I think it was. Yeah. In 2005, I went to the bank for the documents, and they'd gone. Now then, where have these documents gone? Now, we know that a certain person had got access to it by virtue of being the account holder. And when I made inquiries, this person had taken them away and given them to Siswell. For whatever reason, so he must be the only person that said that there is no trustees available. It got to be him, nobody else. And this is where all this information with the trustees' names and everything on it, lost.
But even though he had given the documents away, wherever they are now should...
Oh, we know where they are, but we can't get them.
Siswell's got them.
Siswell's got them. And you can't get them back. I've tried.
They've registered it,
They've registered it. See, the responsibility fully lies with the people at Rotherham Borough who handed it back. They didn't do what they should have done and handed it back to the trustees who signed it over to them in the first place.
That's a liability then, isn't it?
So they won't bring it into account who did it and why. And I can't get answers. I've tried FLIs and all sorts. And I can't get
no idea,
answers.
Jimmy, about these different organisations, but you know Siswell, is it still actually operating as Siswell?
Yes.
We have to apply to them for the carnival.
But it has to be under its own steam at the moment, you know.
Or what
And
about
this is
local
what-
MP or other people getting involved in getting that back for you?
Well,
Because everybody...
The most disturbing fact about it is that they've approached Rotherham Borough to buy all that land up for building. They haven't gone to consultation or nothing. And what's their finding thing says, just bear with me a minute. It says to target areas of depravity and involve local people in this process. That is their mandate, what they're supposed to work by. They're not doing it at all. And if anybody goes up there, they'll think, oh my God, I'm not going to be dad to turn over in his grave if you saw it.
Have you not retained any documents whatsoever? You've got nothing?
All of it.
Oh.
All of it.
It's actually, the council actually, the council before us, actually put it into our list of community assets. So it is registered as a community asset, but it's not been followed through.
But God forbid, even if the revenue from that should come back to the town,
Then I enlighten you still further. Siswell have openly declared that the sale of the land up there for building, the money is going on into other areas. Not been spent here. Not in support of the local mining community here. They've all openly say that.
well, who's running Siswell?
Well,
Lucy Pimpernel.
I mean, it must be accountable.
There must be something we could do to rectify
Is
something
there
along
nothing at
those.
land registry, Jim, that registers under owners were? Is there nothing at land registry?
They
We
changed
have
it.
all sorts of roads, you know, but we just did. I've asked for FOI from Rotherham Borough of who transacted the return, and I can't get an answer from nobody. No answers coming from anybody. Because I'm asking the following question, did they try to contact the trustees? And we've had one little tweak on that said they posted a notice in the library and in the resource centre. That's what they said. If you ask anybody in Dinnington, nobody's ever seen it. Nobody ever saw it.
And it sounds as if there'd be quite a few concerned people apart from yourself that would have noticed that straight away.
Of course they would, yeah. Yeah.
So what do we
It's
feel?
only green space we've got. We haven't got no other green space. I mean, anybody else has got somewhere to take their dog or whatever. We haven't.
Apart from anything
Because they want
else,
to
if it's
start
of
their
value to them, it should be of value to the town.
But one of our concerns is that we just hold the carnival there and
Yeah.
we've tried holding more events there.
Yeah.
But we keep getting refused and at the moment they only let us hold one event. So that ground actually only holds 2 events a year. One the carnival, one the fair.
That's to keep expenditure, income down. This
Yeah.
is the idea, is to make the
And the
land
use.
derelict value.
But we need to know, I mean,
And the use of the land.
what would you want council to do?
I want council to bring to bear on the people at Rotherham who made this decision and why. Working on that, we might be able to then retrace steps against Civil to put it back to the local people who should be speaking up on it.
So you're actually asking that council puts an FOI in?
Well, okay, but
Well, council's probably got more clout than a single person, hasn't it?
Can I
So
come in,
what-
Chair?
Yeah, sure.
What I've got wrote down, this is from 31st of July 1987. The charity executed between the trustees, Dennis Langton, David Smith and Les Ellis. There is no record of those individuals ever being replaced by other trustees. Mr. Jones spoke to Mr. Jed Wilburn, but I took over from Leslie Ellis, and I was at a meeting with Vernon Jones and Jed Wilburn. And what it was, they leased it out to Rotherham Borough Council, and the lease was coming to an end. And I had a meeting with him, and he said that they were going to see if Rotherham Borough Council would take it on for another year, so they can know what they're doing with land. And that's the last meeting I ever had with him.
well, contained in the documentation, Dennis Langton got a replacement named.
So obviously...
Oh, well, I didn't know
Well,
him. I'm just...
I know, I understand. I understand what you're saying, but I mean, it's what we do, what we as a council do.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I mean,
First of all,
we've
they've got
got
to
it.
let it up to their side of the bargain for a start, if you go and have a look at it.
Yeah.
As a council, we should be utterly disgusted in the way they treated Dinnington.
It's all overgrown. There's
Yeah,
nothing there to resemble
You know,
what it was.
I don't want to go down that road. What I'm saying is what...
The fair open on Thursday.
What if we're gonna if we're gonna do an FOI on it, what question are we asking? That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, we could sit here and all night and
Well,
like,
to get us going, I would like to know who and why they didn't follow through the normal procedure. And
What do you
return
mean
it
by
to the
no?
trustees where they got it from.
yeah.
But bearing in mind that everybody's just so their postal address. Nobody's moved.
You signed it over to them, you just asked the safekeeping of documents, didn't you?
No, we didn't. No trustees signed it on. But it's about, I mean, let's not go, I'm aware at time as well, so, you know, it's like we can go on saying somebody should have done this, somebody should have done that. But, so what, I mean, so what question are we going to, you know, as a council, what question are we asking?
Record
I'm
of
just continuing.
events. Yeah, that's a record of events.
That led to Sizwell, you know,
Well, the record of events, when this became such and such, when it got turned over to...
Events and
historic,
transactions.
that's it. Should be
Events
signatures.
and transactions.
So what happened when they terminated their guardianship of that land?
Yeah.
That's what we want to know, why, what.
So let's say for last night.
Sorry, when who terminated?
Rotherham Borough.
When Rotherham Borough?
Yeah.
Just put in bold letters guardianship, so not ownership.
So when
Yeah.
Rotherham Borough took over guardianship or relinquished it?
When they finished guardianship or relinquished
When they
guardianship.
relinquished
That's
it.
what we want to know, that's the crunch time.
That's like the missing link, isn't it?
Yes.
Come here, Mr Sadler, has anybody got any objections if he speaks?
I mean, just as an idea, I'd suggest you choose some representative, maybe some of the remaining trustees, if they're still here, and write to the land registry and tell them the land belongs to you and you intend to register it under your name and let it kick off.
Yeah.
Then you'll force them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a lawyer, but I would think that will force them to come up with some evidence that the land belongs to them. I mean, what happens a lot of the time with land ownership is it's kept quite shady for tax reasons and all sorts of dodgy reasons. You get this a lot with the moorland in the Peak District, but as soon as someone says, hang on, this is mine, then you'll find that Lord such and such magically comes up with a piece of paper that he'd kept hidden for the last 100 years. So all I'm saying is that that might be one way of forcing the issue. If you write to the land registry, or somebody does, somebody with the best claim that we could find, and say, I want to register this land as mine, and then they'll have to defend themselves somehow if they want to keep the title on it, and it'd be interesting to see what they pull out of the woodwork
Are there any trustees?
as proof.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
one.
Are you David Smith mentioned?
Yeah, I want
Jimmy's
deeds.
one.
Well, there you go, you've got 3.
I would say ask the local MP for help, but we all know what a waste of time that'd
We
be.
all have been there, done that.
So can, for the minutes, can we put that we're going to ask for Freedom of Information Act?
Yeah.
Question for that, what we've got, and what about this second part, this making a register?
Well, I think that's down to trustees and our chair of trustees.
So that's not for
originally, so
council
that's not
business,
for council,
issue.
that's
Yeah.
for me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can we have a proposal in second if that we do
Yeah.
pick anyone a seat?
Vote unanimous, is this?
All in favour? Well, that concludes the meeting. I'm sure you're all glad to say. Next meeting is 12th of October 2015, 7 p.m.